Welcome to In the News with Double O Des. I'm Des Bernardo, giving you my perspective on news from South Africa and the rest of the world. In the news today, we have news on the Collins Koza case, where we know that SANDF soldiers entered his property, saw him with a beer bottle next to his chair, and then violently attacked him. Koza later died. They also entered his house, opened the fridge, and saw alcohol in there. Now, according to the regulations and the law, you are just not allowed to sell alcohol. So the fact that they were consuming alcohol was not illegal. And the soldiers, the SANDF soldiers and the police don't understand the regulations or the laws they are supposed to enforce. Now, the reason why it's dangerous to get SANDF soldiers to enforce the law is because they don't fall under the same laws as us. The SANDF soldiers actually fall under military law. So when they violate our human rights, they cannot go before a normal court. They go through a military tribunal. And in this case, they found that these soldiers did nothing wrong. They didn't kill this man. They said that when the soldiers left, he was still alive. He died later due to blunt trauma to the head. They admitted that they had slapped and smacked him and pushed him around. And I actually saw the video footage, and it's clear that he was violently attacked. But this story is in News 24, and the headline reads, Defense Minister Mapisa Nkakula got it wrong on Collins Koza inquiry. Report is final, says the SANDF. So what happened here is the minister actually said that she believed that the inquiry was continuing, when in fact the SANDF believes that this inquiry was finalized. The article reads, Mapisa Nkakula, her office says her understanding that the SANDF inquiry into Collins Koza's death would be reopened was incorrect. The inquiry, which found the soldiers who assaulted Koza didn't cause his death, stands. Koza's family wrote to the minister asking her to explain her contradictory comments on the SANDF inquiry and its report. A day after lawyers wrote to the state attorney to raise concerns about contradictory statements the Minister of Defence made about an army investigation into Collins Koza's death, her ministry has admitted that she got it wrong. So the people below her are telling her that she got it wrong, when she is in a full right to open a further investigation if she wanted to, or say that she doesn't believe the investigation is done yet. And you'll see later in the article why I say that. In a statement released on Friday, the minister said that when a minister, Nosifiwe Mapisa Nkakula, told Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Defence that in her opinion there was no finalised report, so she did so because she understood that the investigation had been referred back to the Chief of the South African National Defence Force and might be reopened for further investigation. This understanding has turned out not to be correct, as the SANDF will not be reopening the Board of Inquiry for further investigations. I must say, after the killing of Collins Koza, that the SANDF's inquiry's feedback and decision was very, very quick. They did not actually interrogate any of the eyewitnesses that were not SANDF members. The minister regrets any confusion that might have been caused by her address to the Joint Standing Committee on Defence and by the subsequent public reporting of her address to the Joint Standing Committee, read the statement. Now, this minister has been shut up. She has been silenced by someone, and I suspect that someone is President Cyril Ramaphosa. And as we continue, I will make a very good case for what I say. Mapisa Nkakula addressed a portfolio committee on Wednesday. A day later, the Koza family's lawyer, Vickers Stale, of Ian Levitt Attorneys, wrote to the state attorney to ask the minister to provide a proper explanation for why her submissions in the High Court was stemming from Koza's death contradicted what she told the portfolio committee. So in the letter, Stale set out what Mapisa Nkakula had previously told the court, including the confirmation that the investigation had been concluded and the submission of a copy of the report to the court, which Stale said was presented as a final report. Stale also noted that the minister had no fewer than 11 days to consider the board's report. So she has a right to consider this report and accept it or reject it. So she's in a full right to say that she doesn't think that things are completed. From completion of the report to the date it was submitted to the court, she has 11 days. So that is quite some time for her to consider what's in the report. He then informed the state attorney that Koza's family was deeply concerned that the matter is not being fairly, independently, and rationally investigated. And I must agree, this is a travesty for justice within South Africa. It's a travesty that soldiers are being sent out into the streets with rifles when they are supposed to be able to support us. Judge Davis, in his High Court ruling against the level 3 and 4 lockdown regulations, said clearly that soldiers under the Disaster Management Act are supposed to go out and help citizens. They're not supposed to be patrolling the streets with automatic rifles, which is the case at the moment. So our government is misusing this Disaster Management Act. And the SANDF soldiers have absolutely no place policing or regulating what people are doing at all. That is not supposed to be their role under the Disaster Management Act. They are supposed to assist, and slapping people around is not assisting, especially on their own property. We are considering our clients' rights in this regard, including a complaint with the South African Police Service for perjury, the public protector for the apparent breach of the Executive Ethics Code, which prohibits ministers from deliberately telling untruths in Parliament, or to the Speaker of Parliament. Before we advise our client on which of these steps to take, we would like to obtain a proper explanation as to the above contradictions and what the department is in fact considering doing. Mapisa Nkakula has faced tough questions in the media and in Parliament in recent days after it emerged that an SANDF Board of Inquiry had found that the soldiers accused of causing Koza's death by assaulting him could not be held liable for his death, as there was no link between the injuries he sustained due to their actions and his death, which is absolute nonsense. The autopsy, the coroner's report, said clearly that there was blunt force trauma to his head, and that was the cause of death. Now, what does slapping you around actually do? He was slapped against the head. I saw it, and they didn't mess around. He was seriously attacked. The inquiry's findings were submitted as part of an affidavit filed in the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria by the SANDF's legal advisor Elvis Hobjana last week. The board, which was led by Brigadier Viscount Nkobo, found Koza and his brother-in-law Tabiso Mavunga had undermined the two female soldiers who entered the yard of Koza's Alexandra home on Good Friday. Now, they had absolutely no right to enter his premises. He was breaking no law. Never mind entering the yard, they entered the house and opened the fridge to see if there's alcohol inside. Once again, they didn't understand that the regulations only prohibited the sale of alcohol. If you had alcohol, you were allowed to drink it. No regulation said you weren't allowed to consume alcohol, and he just had a beer bottle next to his seat. So this is an absolute travesty for someone to die because SANDF soldiers have been let loose. So be very careful what you wish for when you say that the SANDF should come into a community and police and regulate certain things, because they don't fall under the same laws that we do and they can't be taken to a normal criminal court. And this report and the findings show the problem that we're stuck with. The report noted that the attitude of the two men was provocative. The board acknowledged that the men were drinking alcohol in the yard and not in public on the street, but it didn't address whether the soldiers overreached their authority by confronting the men about this. They're not allowed to be in his yard, so they have way more than overreached their authority. The inquiry said the soldiers only pushed and smacked Khosa to force the men to comply with their orders. So they are beating him up to comply with their orders. They are not allowed to order him to do anything under the Disaster Management Act. A state of emergency is a different thing. Our government has got this completely messed up and reversed. They don't understand how our constitution works. They don't understand our own laws. In fact, I don't even think they care. When asked about the report during a media briefing last week, Mapisa Nkakula suggested the SANDF probe was not complete, saying all processes have not been exhausted in dealing with that issue, which means, in my opinion, that the minister had every intention of making this inquiry continue or having a different inquiry, and she has a full right to say that. That's why I'm saying she was silenced. Who was she silenced by? Then on Wednesday, while appearing before Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Defence, the minister said there was no report. I don't accept it, even as a preliminary report, she said. Answered, Mapisa and Kakula answered when asked about the inquiry's final document. She said she doesn't even consider this report as a report. This is what she said. So this is her own true feelings. And she has a right to feel that way. And after a report like that, it's correct for her to say that she doesn't see it as a proper report. Especially when all the witnesses weren't actually spoken to. They only spoke to the SANDF soldiers, took their word and said, sorry, they didn't kill him. End of story. In its statement, the ministry said Mapisa and Kakula had already tasked the military ombud with conducting further investigations into Khosa's case. It is envisaged that the military ombud will conduct and conclude investigations in this regard and report within a period of 8 weeks. For these reasons, there is not yet a final word on the Khosa incident and any culpability that might be established for his death. Once again, you'll see now that this military ombud, it's a military function. There is no recourse for us in any civil court, not even in the constitutional court, for military soldiers killing people in public. The SANDF, their board of inquiry, have to find the soldiers guilty and then sentence them. This is bad news. As a citizen of South Africa, you need to understand that that soldier, when they do something to you, cannot be taken before a normal court. That's why it is a serious thing to release the military into any area. And anyone that's asked the military to be released into areas, I don't think fully understand what right and might they have outside of our rights as citizens of the country. So think before you wish for something. And another thing, the only way for us to get this government to understand the Constitution, which has its flaws, our laws and how to apply them, is to elect independent individuals so that this party gang system setup can stop, people. Our Constitution makes provision for this. Our electoral code does not. The IEC needs to step up and change their systems. They don't know how to do this. This is the problem. Because at the moment, the ANC can rule till the end of days. In fact, they said that they would. In fact, if someone else had to win the elections currently, they will not give up power. They will just go back to the same terrorism that they think got them into power. When we know, and I know, that it was Cyril Ramaphosa's New World Order stooges that put the ANC in power. Not the freedom fighters, not the terrorists. These were people from overseas that put the ANC into power to destroy this country. Because that is what's needed. We need to be brought absolutely to our knees to accept the United Nations and the New World Order ideology. And my following videos will cover many topics with regards to this. Please subscribe to this channel, click the bell icon so you get notifications on the videos to follow. And thank you for subscribing. We've gone over 4,700 subscribers. The response has been absolutely phenomenal, and we're racing towards 5,000 subscribers now. 3 weeks ago, I would have never imagined that this channel would explode the way that it has, and it's been an absolute team effort. Thank you for contacting me. Thank you for all your messages. At this stage, I cannot read all of them because there are absolutely thousands of them. But I appreciate all of you that have reached out to me. Till the next video.